Almost late to my stream. But hey, it's Saturday, so I'm allowed to be late if I want to. Anyway, how are you doing? I hope you're well. That's all I've got for you. I don't know. It's Saturday. My beautician will arrive in like probably a couple of hours. So that's for how long I'm going to stream, because I gotta do my nails and stuff. Okay. So yeah, but no, I'm not even joking. Like it's true. And I mean, anyway, Saturday streams are supposed to be that. Like I'm supposed to be like just chilling a little bit. I guess before we go into it, I should say though, um, again, just to be clear, I will be talking mostly about Guild Wars 2, so I don't think it's just chatting. That said, though, it's going to be mostly talking. Maybe I'll go into some gameplay if I feel like it, maybe not, right? And there is a chance, the forecast predicts some Halls of Torment, maybe, or just, just chatting in general. But still, like, I would like to focus on talking about Guild Wars 2 anyway, so hence the label. And with that, you're now forewarned that there may not be any gameplay, actually. And even if there is, I don't know what you expect from me. I mean, when I stream and try to play at the same time, and it's an MMO, I can't. If there is a rotation involved, I can't fucking do it. Honestly, I just can't fucking do it. So yeah, now you're forewarned and forsworn. Hello. Yeah, you've been forsworn, okay? You've been forsworn and forewarned. And so, who knows if there's going to be gameplay, but, the stream itself is mostly about Guild Wars 2 at this point. I mean, my Saturday streams, it seems. If you want gameplay for Guild Wars 2, you might want to check out Monday, which is when I will actually be trying to, to get better at streaming and playing Guild Wars 2. Because to me, that's a daunting combination. Like any MMO, it's not Guild Wars 2, it's any MMO. I just fucking can't. I lose my shit. For real, I lose my shit. I can't do my rotations. I can't do anything. Not that I'm like excellent otherwise, off stream or something. I'm pretty average, I'd say, I guess, as a player. But yeah, it gets really bad when I'm trying to stream as well. I don't know. It's a combination of shyness and I don't know. I'm a bit shy and nervous when I'm trying to do rotations proper. But yeah, so here's the thing. Since this stream might be, 20 minutes, but might also be like, 25 hours or something. No, it can't. Actually, wait, let me fucking fix that. This stream can be short, it can be long, I don't care. It's Saturday, I can do what I want, okay? I'm not responsible, all right? This is like, Saturdays are side streams for me, okay? Anyway, so now you know why I labeled it as Guild Wars 2, I categorized it under Guild Wars 2. And you know what it's going to be about. And so, that's our first 5 or 10 minutes, I guess, gone. But I wanted to take a look at two things that popped up. And, I was curious about them, so I wanna see them with you, actually. One of them is a video, of course. And it's about Guild Wars, of course. And the other one is an interesting petition that apparently is running right now. One that I haven't read, but like, yeah, we're reading it together. So let's go and do that, okay? Let's start with that. And also my intro song was from White Bat Audio, as always. Credit where it's due. I haven't been using Card Case's music exclusively lately, so I feel like I should go back to crediting. So yeah, that's done. That's out of the way. Here's the petition. Hold the development of Guild Wars 3 to preserve the integrity of the franchise is the title, the header. I'm gonna listen to the top supporter. I'm curious. My first issue is with the title, and I think you know what the issue is with me and this title. There is no active development on Guild Wars 3. This has been made very clear. Factually, I mean, you can believe what you want, but factually, there is no development, nothing official announced, there is nothing there. So a petition to halt the development will have the added, like, you know, fail factor of the fact that there is no Guild Wars 2, you know, development. Therefore, if there was, maybe more people would be like, okay, let me sign this because I want to hold the development. But like, I think at this point, a lot of people actually understand that there is nothing announced, no official announcements. The official announcements that we do have are that there is no development on Guild Wars 3, so that's what we go for, or rather with, you know? So, off to a bad start, I guess, right? So halt the development of Guild Wars 3. So another problem with this that I have is halting the development of anything. Like, if there was a Guild Wars 3 in development right now, okay, why would you want to stop that? I don't understand. I'm hoping that this article is going, these petitions, like, you know, the description or, you know, synopsis is going to help me understand that. But at first glance, wanting to halt the development of a game seems a little bit petty, to be honest, if there was a Guild Wars 3. But yeah, but, you know, let's assume that there is active development, which there isn't. But okay, let's assume that there is. Hypotheticals. Why would you want to halt it, though? So that's another issue I have right off the bat. And then the reason for that seems to be to preserve the integrity of the franchise. But what integrity are we talking about anyway? Like, what are you preserving by not going into a sequel? Like, I think Dragon Age, for example, right? Why would you, let's say that you are an avid supporter of Dragon Age Origins, right? Back then. Nobody was like, oh, this game is so good, I play it all the time, I don't want a sequel, let's halt the development of Dragon Age 2 and then also Dragon Age Inquisition. Like, why? Why would you do that? If you don't like it, see what happened with Mass Effect Andromeda, right? Or Andromeda or whatever. Nobody cared to halt this thing, like, people wanted to see where it's going, right? And then it was shit. And people just didn't play it, didn't buy it, and that's it. Done. So instead of this preserving the integrity, why not just vote with your wallet? Like, don't buy it. It's that simple. Like, stay in 2. A lot of people stayed in 1, for example. And again, this is very hypothetical because there is no active development. I'm just humoring the petition. All right, let's start with the text and then go into the top supporter, because I'm curious. All right. I'll try to narrate it for you, otherwise this is going to be boring, and at least it's short, right? I hate narrations. I hate just reading out loud, I'm sorry. My life won't... This is already dramatic. My life was once filled with joy and excitement as I immersed myself in the world of Guild Wars 2. It was more than a game. Uh-oh. It was a sanctuary, an escape from reality. I mean, that's what games are. So it is a game. But that changed when ArenaNet, when the Fire Nation attacked, when ArenaNet failed to keep up the integrity of Guild Wars. When, okay, so... All right, so what do you mean by that? Yeah, this guy sounds like a Final Fantasy fanatic. That's true. So let me dissect here. It was more than a game. So someone found a sanctuary in a game, an escape from reality, and they felt that their sanctum is being violated harder than, like, you know, back when in Diablo 2 you just, you know, the sanctuary gets invaded. But anyway, okay, that is a very dramatic statement. All of this is very dramatic. But that changed when an internet failed to keep up the integrity of Guild Wars. Guild Wars 2 was always what it is. I remember my feelings towards it when I first ever played it. And I feel like I'm playing in a good way, by the way. I feel like I'm playing the same game. So it's not something, it's not like Guild Wars 2 started as something and then changed into something. But when the ArenaNet Nation attacked, apparently for this person, yeah, everything changed. Okay, so this is factually wrong. I mean, Guild Wars 2 has its own identity, and it hasn't changed since launch. It's been amplified, it's not changed. So this is weird, because it seems like this person went into Guild Wars 2 because of Guild Wars 1, and then stayed there thinking it's like Guild Wars 1, when it's really, really just not. And then at one point he realizes that and thinks that it changed over time, but it didn't. This whole first paragraph is excrement. So let's move on to the next stuff. ArenaNet's management has led to significant changes in gameplay mechanics and narrative direction that have left many players like me disappointed. What? Anyway, their approach has not only affected my personal enjoyment, oh no, but also caused a decline in overall player satisfaction. Sources? According to MMORPGs.com's annual survey of 2019, Guild Wars 2 saw a drop in player rating, but it's 2024 now, though. Anyway, this shows that I'm not alone in dissatisfaction. Yes, you probably are, because numbers are rising right now. They've been rising since EOD. Now we face the development... Wait, let me dissect the second paragraph. So, ANET's management has led to significant changes in gameplay. No, that's the game. That's how... Yeah, that's how they made Guild Wars 2. By making significant changes to gameplay and mechanics and to the narrative direction. Going from 1 to 2, like, you know, 10,000 years ago. But he says on the first paragraph, or they say on the first paragraph, that they enjoyed it for a while, during, you know, according to their own, like, delusion. If we accept that it's not a delusion, then they did enjoy it for a while. So what are they saying here? Their approach has not only affected my personal enjoyment, well, that is irrelevant, but also caused a decline in overall player satisfaction. Yes, some of the sources, some of the decisions of ArenaNet have led to player dissatisfaction and decline, and that was... that peaked with Icebrood Saga and beyond, up until, you know, End of Dragons. That was like such a... That was the Dark Ages for Guild Wars. That was for Guild Wars 2, to be specific. The Dark Ages completely, like fucking Plague Tale innocence, like for real, like rats everywhere, like Guardians and Scourges dominating, it's everything. The balance was shit, you know, no content. Yeah, we all know that. That's done though. We're out of that now. So using something that happened like years ago, like why didn't you leave the game then? Where was your petition back then to improve the game? Where was that? Anyway, now we face the development of Guild Wars 3 under ArenaNet's control again. Well, no. I mean, ANET themselves came out and said there is no development. There is no Guild Wars 3. An alarming prospect. Okay, I can understand that you're alarmed. For those who cherish this franchise as much as I do. Yeah, okay. Even though, you know, this person doesn't seem to cherish Guild Wars 2. Anyway, yeah, nothing to say. There is no development. But I do understand the, you know, I'm also alarmed. I was also alarmed by this until I found out it's bogus, it's fake news. And I'm still alarmed because, like, I'm not ready to move just yet. If we were to move, you know. But if it's like in 8 years from now, that's different. Okay, we'll see. Anyway, we cannot stand by. While the enemy of the Imperium still draws breath, there can be no peace. No, okay, wait. We cannot stand by while our beloved franchise is further damaged by decisions we believe are detrimental. You know, using plural here is a fallacy. First of all, like, speak for yourself, my guy, and then if other people agree, they will use this button here. That's how this works. You don't tell people what to feel, and you don't assume there is like a throng or an angry mob behind you. Bad look. Anyway, if you think, okay, if you think your franchise is gonna be, but I mean, this guy doesn't even want a franchise. He just wants Guild Wars 1 to be back. That's all he wants. I don't see any damage. I see like Guild Wars 2 improving constantly ever since, again, you know, EOD. So I don't know. They're kind of like taking care of the game. They're releasing balance patches. They're taking care of it. They're adding stuff. I don't understand what this person disagrees so vehemently with, honestly. Anyway, detrimental to the core values and unique appeal. I wouldn't say so. Guild Wars 2 is doing its own thing. Guild Wars 1 is doing its own thing. Each of them respects its own core and, you know, and style, let's say, right? Anyway. We urge, no, you urge all stakeholders involved, so developers, publishers, and investors, to reconsider their strategy. What is the strategy? I would very much like to know that. So this person claims to know their strategy, and what is that then? What is the strategy? Because there's nothing in development. So what is the strategy here? To eventually launch a sequel? I mean, that's a good strategy, I guess. I would prefer if they didn't personally. If they just went on and, like, you know, kept working on Guild Wars 2 at least for a while, but whatever. That's what they're gonna do anyway, so I don't know. By signing this petition, you're joining me and countless others. Countless? There's 55 of you. That is a very specific number. Countless? Okay. Who want our voices heard before it's too late for our cherished gaming universe. Please sign today. Forteria! That's cringe. That's really cringe. All of this is a little bit cringe, I have to say. Look, this could work if you changed a few things, if they changed a few things. This could be presentable if they didn't focus on their, like, dream states and their, like, you know, weird psychological state of, you know, finding a little bit too much of a sanctuary in a game. But, like, I don't know. If this was more in the line of let's, you know, make a petition to force ArenaNet to come out again and again, you know, reconfirm that they're not working on Guild Wars 3, and then maybe combine it with an idea of, please make Guild Wars 2 better, please move it to a different engine, even if it means, like, blah blah blah, which is like it's a difficult task, to be sure, but it can be done with, like, enough, you know, people and work and money. It can be done. Transfer, like, you know, the accounts over and, like, you know, rework it. And yeah, I guess that petition would make more sense than asking all of this, which is just, I don't know, it's I mean, everyone wants their voice heard. Yeah, I agree with that. And if they had announced, like, here is the thing, if they had announced that they're developing Guild Wars 3 right now, I would say that, yeah, I would also like my voice to be heard, in that I wouldn't want it this soon. It is way too soon, so I wouldn't want it. But, like, they've literally said, and I've showed it on my streams as well, like the official source, that the best estimate you can have is that they're gonna, if they are ever going to then development is going to take enough time that you will at least have like 6 or more years of Guild Wars 2. So it's a bit too soon, I think. Anyway, or if maybe this petition was like, I don't ever want a Guild Wars 3, who's with me? That, yeah, and you know, and then instead focus on Guild Wars 2 and 1. Yeah, I could get behind that, for example, depending, of course, because as much as I like it, I don't think it's going to look nice in 8 years from now. You know, it's gonna be looking very, very dated. Right now, it's fine, and it's got this like, it's got this style and this art direction which keep it kind of going, just like World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy, of course. But yeah, and I mean, it's got it better than World of Warcraft. It's the graphics are, like, the visuals and the aesthetics are much more pleasing to me, at least. Like, if I had to make a top 3 among the usual 3 suspects of MMOs, I would put Guild Wars first as an aesthetic, as you know, visually, not the graphics quality necessarily, but the style, the, you know, the ambience, let's say, the art style. I would put Guild Wars first, and then very close to it, like super close to it, then Final Fantasy, and then somewhere rock bottom would be World of Warcraft, because that shit has not aged well. And yeah, there is so much content that even though the more recent stuff looks more appealing, I guess, previous stuff is still there. It has to be acknowledged. Can't be pushed under the rug there. So it looks like, you know, 70% of it looks like dog shit from the 90s. So yeah, World of Warcraft is just, I can't stand the aesthetic. But anyway, interesting petition. I'm never gonna sign this because it is it's vague, cringe, misleading, and its basis is non-existent. Like, there is no development for Guild Wars 3. So automatically, by signing, you're basically saying you're the equivalent of a flat earther, where, you know, they or a doomsday, you know, maniac or whatever, a prepper, essentially. I don't know. I don't know what to say about this. It's very. It makes, you know, what the problem is with this. It makes those who would argue logically look like fucking clowns, because we will be, you know, and I say we because, like, you know, there is a number of people who are like me, for example, able to read and, you know, comprehend what's going on, and we do kind of argue that, well, there isn't any development, you know, going on according to official sources, so therefore there is little to worry about. But now, you know, apparently we are associated with this kind of thing, which borders on, like, sabotaging at this point. Anyway, what's the top supporter's voice then? Let's see. Cool feature though.
To ArenaNet, it doesn't make any sense to come out with a half-assed game just for a quick cash grab when you can literally make the game of the decade and have fistful of dollars.
What? Huh?
Over a couple cents. Like, Guild Wars is a legacy game. The fan base is a tight-knit community. We're going to be there to support Guild Wars.
And it cuts, and that's it. Oh, I mean, game is not even in development, already cash grab. Let me hear this again. That's interesting.
To ArenaNet, it doesn't make any sense to come out with a half-assed game just for a quick cash grab.
How would you know it's half-assed? if there was a Guild Wars 3 in development, what makes you think it would be half-assed? Because let me tell you this as well. It's 2024. Even half-assed games aren't half fucking bad. Just by virtue of how much, the tools with which you can make a game have developed themselves. You see, you see like single individuals, single people, like just one person making a whole game lately. And it's actually not that bad game. It's actually okay. And you enjoy it. So what makes you think that, first of all? It's okay, fine, whatever. But then why do you think it's going to be a cash grab? Like, it feels to me like in these people's heads, which is weird because they seem to be in disagreement with like other people who also think the same somehow. It's confusing. But all of them seem to think, in their heads, Guild Wars 3 is already out. Like, I swear to God, in their fucking heads, they're so sure that Guild Wars 3 is out already that they can go and buy it, as sure as they are that the Earth is flat. I'm pretty fucking sure. They probably even were afraid of the eclipse or something.
When you can literally make the game of the decade and have fistful of dollars.
Well, okay, if you make the decade of the game, you're not going to have a fistful of dollars. You're going to be fucking rich, my friend. You're going to be fucking rich. Look what happened at Baldur's Gate 3. They made a damn good game. Okay, and they're shitting money right now. It's not a fistful. Alright, a fistful means for a few dollars. Anyway, I get what he's trying to say, but yeah, maybe word it better. But yes, I will agree with one point of his. Guild Wars 2 does have the capacity, the potential to be far, far, far more better, or better, more better doesn't work. English is hard, I'm sorry, on a Saturday. To be far better than what it is right now, and potentially far better than its competition. Even though I'm not even sure I should call it competition, because ever since I've known, about Guild Wars 2, it just seems to do its own thing. Like it is in its own like lane, right? It exists in its own. It's like the city of Komora. It's like it's between the fucking dimensions. It doesn't exist in the same dimension as like Final Fantasy and World of Warcraft, and I am very happy for that. And it's the perfect side game. And I don't think I would ever want it to directly try and compete with those two games, for many reasons. It's a competition that it would lose, first of all. For many reasons it would. A lot of them would not have much to do with gameplay. Some of them would, alright? But I love what it's doing, and that it's doing its own thing. And beyond that, though, I do agree, there is a lot of untapped potential in there. Enough, and this is my point, that's the important bit of what I want to say, is that enough of it there to not require a Guild Wars 3 in the near future. For sure, if not in the, not near, but let's say into the intermediate future, right? Later down the line, yes, perhaps, but there is lots of stuff Guild Wars 2 can do right now, like right now, literally, with the engine that it has, as old as it is, or as clunky as it is, there is still stuff it can do, which will elevate it, which will make it far more enjoyable and interesting to play. Not that it isn't, but, there is room there for improvement, for sure, which doesn't require a new engine or, a sequel. So I do agree with that.
Over a couple cents. Like Guild Wars is a...
Also, he's saying, here he appears to be saying, if you hear it the wrong way, which is very easy to do with the way that this guy is saying things, It's almost as if he's telling them, why are you trying to make money when you can try to make less money? It really sounds like that the way he's saying it. Why would you have a fistful of dollars over a few cents? It's weird how you can hear it, you know, without much effort. You can actually hear it like that.
Legacy game. The fan base is a tight-knit community.
Okay, with that I disagree. A legacy game doesn't mean it should fucking calcify. It doesn't mean you should allow it to calcify beyond repair, which is almost what they did with IBS, by the way. Again, that Dark Ages that I mentioned. It almost calcified right there and died. Almost. So why would this guy be like, oh, it's a legacy game, don't touch it? No, do touch it, fucking improve it, change it, experiment, let's go on. What the fuck? Why? What does it matter? And then he goes on like, oh, it has a loyal fan base. Yeah, if your fan base is so loyal, just like in Final Fantasy, where they're starting to oppose change, well then Chaos is mad, right? You make Chaos sad like that. You know what, he's right. How dare they make a sequel? Let's delete Guild Wars 2 and return to Guild Wars 1. This is what the petition seems to be saying. This is what the petition seems to be saying. And this guy is also saying, oh no, don't let things evolve. Anyway, having a loyal fan base, listen, if you're really loyal, you're gonna stick with it. That's what loyalty means. It doesn't mean holding things back, it means going the way. I think people don't understand what that term means. Anyway, you don't have to be loyal to a game because then this happens. Okay? Don't be loyal to a game, just enjoy it. Like, a game is not like a religious figure, and it's not like a military figure. It's a game. Anyway, if that kind of loyalty gets you to a point where you just cannot accept change, not change as in the non-existent development of Guild Wars 3, which, yeah, it's non-existent, but change as in, let's not even improve Guild Wars 2, let's just fucking keep it as it is.
Unity. We're gonna be there to support Guild Wars.
Are you gonna be there to support Guild Wars though? Are you? I don't fucking know. Like, you know, do you have any proof? Like, have you spent money on the game? Like, can we see that? Because if not, then like your words are empty. I support Guild Wars 2. I throw money at it because I think, you know, it deserves it. So I do. What can you tell? What can you say? Sorry. This guy just says, ah, yeah, whatever. For me, it would be easy to prove it. I can just log in, and if you're observant, you can notice like exactly how much shit I've bought over the years, you know. And I'm not flexing. I'm just saying, when you say, like in this person's case, when you go public and say, we will support Guild Wars 2, but then you go like, I am buying shit from the fucking store or anything. Not that you should, I'm not advocating that you should here, don't get me wrong, okay? Don't confuse my words. Don't fucking misconstrue what I'm saying here. I'm just arguing in a vacuum. When people say, oh, we're gonna be there, what exactly do they mean? That's my point. Like, you should examine what they need and what they mean, sorry. And when they tell you stuff like that, you should ask for like some kind of evidence. Like, okay, how do you support Guild Wars 2? Why are you so important? You know, what have you done? Are you a content creator? What are you exactly, you know? Have you spent a dime beyond like buying the game, or maybe not even buying it? I guess if you're playing the trial version. Who knows? This guy might be playing the trial version, for example. We don't know. That's all I'm saying. Probably not, but we don't know. So this is a very weird petition. Let's see some comments. I'm sick of Arenet ruining this once good game. Oh, so you're also stuck in Guild Wars 1. Okay. Because they want to drain the player of all creativity and feel they want to punish those who have ideas to put in the game from the original Guild Wars. dude, this is the person who goes on Reddit and goes like, bring back this feature from Guild Wars 1. In fact, bring all of Guild Wars 1. Like, they wanted to make Guild Wars 2 and they did. What would the point be if it looks exactly identical as Guild Wars 1? Whether we like that or not, you know, it doesn't matter. But like, yeah, I think they were creative with Guild Wars 2. You know, they've been creative, I guess, in my opinion. Lately, especially. You know, with the new specializations and all that we got ever since, ever since AOD. We might not like all of them, but they were creative. Like the Bladesform was a good idea. Virtuoso, Pistol Necromancer, like Harbinger, yeah, I like that. You know, so as ideas, yeah, they do actually introduce new ideas. They do try to be creative with bullshit they do. You know, the execution, yeah, that might suffer sometimes, depending on your tastes as well, and it's very subjective. I mean, to some people, maybe all of that is like awesome. You know, to me, it's like kind of RNG. Sometimes their ideas are awesome. Other times the execution sucks. Other times the idea is like shit, but the execution is very good, so it's actually enjoyable. Like, for example, Staff Warrior Healing as a concept sounds so fucking stupid because it's a warrior, blah blah. So, you know, if we take it like that, it's stupid. It's still creative to try and do it, but as a concept, it's stupid. But then you play it and it's fucking amazing. As an example, okay. Anyway, start nerfing characters. I don't know. I don't know. The opposite is happening. Like, provenly the opposite is happening. Yeah, not much else to say. Was this... Maybe Chelsea Bell is like a Guardian main. Anyway, they still haven't delivered on Guild Wars 1, let alone 2. Okay, you know what? I can't speak about Guild Wars 1. But Guild Wars 2, yeah, they haven't delivered in the sense that there is a lot of untapped potential, as I said. And it would be much better to squeeze that than to cut and run. So, Richard here? Yeah. Yeah, I can agree. But you know what? They do seem like they've stopped running. I mean, again, lately they've been doing some really good stuff, and they did come out and say, there is no fucking Guild Wars 3. We are focusing on Guild Wars 2. But as a statement, this is correct, you know. There is no need. The switch from 1 to 2 was necessary due to limitations. And until we hit that wall again, there is no... Yeah, okay. Yes, Lloyd Norhaus, or Knauerhaus, or Knarhaus. Well, Lloyd anyway. And I'm sorry for the name. You know, pronouncing it. Is the closest you're gonna get. And this should have been the petition. This should have been the petition. Like, you know, we firmly believe, against official statements, that you are developing Guild Wars 3. Therefore, we want to preemptively ask you to reconsider, because, you know, there is still no need for that, because Guild Wars 2 hasn't hit that wall where it can't go over it, you know, where it can't fucking evolve more. That should have been the petition, and I could have probably understood it. I wouldn't sign it again because I don't firmly believe, despite their statements, that there is like a Guild Wars 3. I personally choose to go by what they officially state, which is that, you know, there is no development on Guild Wars 3. So I wouldn't sign that either, but, you know, if you want to make a good point, you could do that. So Lloyd is very, very close there. In 2 sentences, instead of all this fucking drivel here. This emotional garbage over here. I wonder, is there more? Yeah, no, Lloyd is all right. But anyway, that was the whole thing I wanted to say with you. Interesting. Very interesting. I love that I have content to talk about. All this drama. It's funny because to me it's like a done deal. It's like it's closed. The case is closed. There is no Guild Wars 3. That's it. Too bad. But it's giving me so much to talk about without even having to worry. That I will keep doing it because I love it. I don't know. It's also good practice, you know. Maybe in the future I want to do the same for other things. Maybe even real life stuff, or who knows. Maybe I'll go into podcasts. Oh my god. I will be solely responsible for the decline of podcast popularity if I do that. Alright, so here we go. This is the video I wanted to watch with you though. Why does everyone simp for Guild Wars 2? Good question, because who even is simping for Guild Wars 2? I'm not gonna lie, who even is simping for it? I'm interested in this channel. It seems to have some interesting stuff to say. So shall we? Let's right? Let's fucking do this. Alright, as usual, I'm gonna mute myself while we watch, and I'll pause and then unmute to comment, okay? So here goes. I hope the volume is alright. Let's fucking see where this goes.
Any day tell people to go and play Guild Wars 2.
Guild Wars 2, in my opinion, still does the best job of delivering story when it comes to MMORPGs.
The world feels extremely alive. You have people fighting.
This MMO is definitely worth the money.
Guild Wars 2.
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 Oh, really? We'll see about that. Guild Wars.
Alright, so imagine having a video where you're saying everyone is simping for it and you're showing the same people twice or 3 times. And then also resorting to showing content creators for that game, which of course they're content creators for it, therefore they will, you know, they do approve of it. Like, off to a weak start. I don't think people are simping for Guild Wars 2. Am I simping for Guild Wars 2? I don't think so. I've even stated that, you know, and in previous, like, older videos of mine, I have said, like, it does have, like, some problems. It does, you know, it's a game that I like, just like Final Fantasy, but I vibe to it instead of vibing to Final Fantasy. I can't vibe to Final Fantasy, but I do recognize it's a good game. I can vibe to Guild Wars 2. I enjoy playing it a lot. But I don't think I've simped for it. I'm not too sure. Maybe I am, like, guilty of this. I'm not too sure. I'll have to reflect on that.
Wars 2, a game I've never touched before despite it being 11 years old. And not touching 11-year-olds is really strange behavior for a YouTuber in 2023. Now, once upon a time I did play a...
What the fuck? I know it was a joke, but... ugh. Okay, that was like such a fucking... Oh no. Okay, weird, but okay.
A dervish in a completely unrelated game with certainly no lore or story significance to this one called Guild Wars. But that was way back when we could call a hurricane Katrina and no one wanted to have sex with it. 2005.
What? What the fuck is this guy on about? Is he high or something? What the fuck is going on? Okay, let's continue. This is gonna be interesting.
The good old days. But we're not here to reminisce over an age when the timeline wasn't irreversibly shattered by turning a gorilla into Swiss cheese, all because a child wanted free water skiing lessons. See, I'm here to entertain you, and you're here to get the Wish.com version of brain damage. And maybe if we're...
Yeah, you're very correct about that. I already feel brain damaged by his humor. Like, that is like emotionally damaging even. What the hell? Very rough so far. But let's get to the meat and potatoes, right?
both lucky, I'll be able to offer to you an opposing viewpoint to all those boomers who keep sucking themselves off over how good Guild Wars 2 is. So let's wait.
The boomers sucking themselves? Have you even watched, like, you know, Joss's videos? I don't think so.
Waste no more words and see how disappointing Guild Wars 2 is about to be. Let's start off simple and pick that one objectively superior character race. And we might as well pick our class or profession too while we're at it. Right off the bat, Guild Wars...
Hey, if you're gonna bash a game for how they call their classes, you're delusional. Like, at this point, like, for example, what, are you gonna complain that Final Fantasy calls them jobs? I mean, just move on, dude.
2 gets pretentious on us. Ooh, I'm so fancy because I've got an animal race that doesn't look like each and every other furry race out there. I get...
Yeah, you should be proud of that. Yes, that's a very good point. Guild Wars 2 does races the best. They are very distinct.
The impression that when first creating the char in Guild Wars 1, someone on the design team one day looked over at their house cat and realized that it doesn't in fact have a gigantic pair of unwieldy bolt-on tits, thus dooming the Guild Wars 2 team to keep the design for the sake of continuity, and banishing the furry menace back into other unnamed games out there. And yeah, that's great, but so what? I can name two other MMOs out there that don't have furries in them. I think. I mean...
Yeah, but what is he even arguing against or for the design? I don't get it. Like, this guy is so fucking confusing to follow. I'm not gonna lie.
Just look at this game. It's already acting like it's better than everyone else out there. Next, you're gonna tell me that the people who play this game shower regularly. Look, let's get down to brass tacks. I'm here to have a bad time and dunk on all those Guild Wars 2 simps, okay? Not many, but the most hardcore of MMO players will realize this. But there's a delicate balance of salted misery to be maintained within this genre. And if we're gonna figure out how to be miserable, there's only really one place to start this journey. Reddit. And within this cesspool of circle-jerking mod incels, we got no help. Big surprise. But I did stumble across this useful little link right here. And a little later, upon returning to my post, we found a surprising number of people with a brain who typed something worth reading. These posts right here have me pretty concerned, actually. You see, they may not look like much, but this kind of positive behavior is disruptive to the natural ecosystem of MMO-related Reddit. But moving on to that link I found.
Alright, so about that, yeah, the difference here with the communities is that, for example, Guild Wars is like... How can I find a good example for this? So you ask, let's say you ask, right? You ask on public chat something. You go like, hey, guys, how can I do this in the game? And you immediately get like a couple of tells and some people on public chat going like, oh, you do this and that, and, you know... On your PMs, some people might be, hey, you want me to get you there? Need any help? You know, that kind of thing. In Final Fantasy, what's gonna happen is basically you're gonna find yourself literally barraged by potential sugar daddies looking to impress you and to take you under their wing. I'm trying to be very discreet with how I'm wording this, but I'm not meaning it literally, you know, hint, hint. So yeah, or you're gonna find people who are gonna try to do their best, despite how they really are as people, to leave good impression for the sake of the game, because that's how zealous they are. You know, their zealotry that does that to them. They're putting their best behavior there, just to help the person have a good impression. Whereas in Guild Wars, it's like, oh yeah, sure, you just do that, whatever. And as this guy says, I mean, they're gonna try and help you in depth. They're gonna, you know, present to you how they math out things, like what is worth doing, what is not worth doing, you know, everything. So a proper discussion about the subject. Whereas, for example, in Final Fantasy, it will trail off to ERP. It's gonna trail off to grooming potentially. Fingers crossed it doesn't, but you know it has in the past. So they are going to try to take you into the fold, let's say, for example, in Final Fantasy. So yeah, there is that difference there, for sure. Guild Wars 2 community is objectively very helpful, and not by being, you know, overwhelmingly positive and sweaty positive. It's just by being like, yeah, you know, this is how you do X and Y and Z, and go and do it. Like, it's that simple, you know.
We've got two choices here. We can pick our character through player choice or by player time. Playtime.
Like, okay, another example is, for example, okay, so someone goes into the forums of Final Fantasy and goes like, hey guys, how exactly, you know, what is the best strat for like Dark Knight for wall-to-wall pool plays? And then people are gonna be like, why are you wall to wall? You should play what you want, you should play as you want, you set the pace, and let no one is playing your subscription, blah blah blah, do what you want, it doesn't matter, numbers don't matter, what buttons you press don't matter, nothing matters, just be happy all the time, just, yeah, and I fucking double dare you not to be happy all the fucking time when you're playing. And then you might go like, yeah, but like, sure, but how do I play Dark Knight efficiently? And they're gonna be like, efficiently, you toxic elitist, you know. So yeah, whereas if you go into Guild Wars and go like, hey, is this optimal, does someone know? And they're gonna say, yeah, you know, you could do this differently. And then someone else is going to pop up and say, well, according to Meta Battle, for example, this is more efficient because if you do this and that calculation, it turns out that in this situation, blah, 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 you know, without it being overly tiring, it can get in depth and it's like on topic. So, yeah.
Probably means that people are having a worse experience with the game than just not liking the way something looks. So let's go with that. So now in no uncertain terms, we know we'll be playing the cat wizard that escaped the Harry Potter race war. So on to the character creator. Let's see. Mesmer. Illusions, finesse, misdirection. All the appropriate skills to craft the perfect YouTube apology after entering a Japanese forest. While we design Simba's disabled little brother, you may notice some real chunky polygons sticking out here and there, but a fair portion of this is covered up decently by the amount of options and sliders we've got available. And on top of those sliders, we've got some presets. We can even change the background lighting in case God didn't like you having a working pair of eyes. And there's even a slider so we can decide if we're going to be short or recognized as a person by society at large. All of this is shockingly well put together, but this isn't gameplay, so let's speedrun this a bit. Alright. There we go. Completely indistinguishable from your average char. Now then, let's get in.
He says that sarcastically, but to be honest, he does look like a very angry cat right now. A very angry, you know, warlike cat.
What? Lore. Backstory. What the fuck is all this? Hold on. Now this is pure speculation on my part, but I get the feeling they're trying to turn our character into a person. I thought I was supposed to...
Ah, yes. This is something that I have a lot to say about Final Fantasy, especially. I mean, World of Warcraft tried, but yeah, still not close. But Final Fantasy, like, your character is literally the camera. I've said this before. Your character is your fucking camera. That's all. You're like an observer cam. There is nothing else. Not with you, but with A, okay?
To be playing main character generic hero man number 6,000,000,001. Alright, fine. I'll admit the character creator is good enough that it's got me wondering why this isn't industry standard for every other MMO out there. God, and this game is 11 years old and we still haven't evolved? You know what, don't worry about it. I'm sure with my choice of the least played race profession combo that we're about to have a bad time in the starting area. So welcome to Smokestead. Turns out that the cat chimera people beat the snot out of the...
Chimeras, yes, Char look like chimeras. That is so interesting. I never thought about it. Cool. But yeah, I wanted to say, because I got sidetracked there, the least played combination. So here's the thing. If you're like in Guild Wars 2, everyone rolls, well, not everyone, a lot of people, the majority, okay, the vast majority, will roll like female elementalist, okay, and probably human. However, and this is just like most people will roll like Cat Girl in Final Fantasy, right? However, when you see a well-made character in Guild Wars, you respect. Especially if it's a less played race, you respect. And they're interesting to look at. Whereas, for example, in Final Fantasy, I've been trash talked. I've literally been trash talked more than twice, a handful of times, maybe 2 handfuls of times, okay, within the same 6 months, about not playing a cat girl and even switching from a cat girl to something else, namely a human. I've also been trash talked, and literally trash talked, like literally bullied, literally, for wearing, for example, face paint, war paint on my character, because, I want my character to look strong, to look like a warrior, and I've been trash talked for that. It is amazing. Because in Final Fantasy, if you're not a cat girl, an uwu girl, okay, and if with mods you're not looking like a sex doll, an inflatable Chinese sex doll, people are gonna shit on you, let me tell you.
Previous owners of this land so bad that they all became eternally butt-mad blue checkmark Twitter ghosts. Jesus, and this is the least played starting area. Now, before we continue with our journey, I feel it's important for me to give you some backstory of this game before things get confusing. The premise of Guild Wars 2 is that we're playing as a cat-monkey man in a game developed by the Children of Satan, who in unison with a group of money-hungry lizard men published this game, proving that sometimes math isn't bullshit and 2 negatives can sometimes produce something positive. This game is all about adventuring your way through a single-player game with other people that bother you every now and then, in the world of Tyra Banks, who's got a pretty
I will say this, I do like, and I've commented on this before, I do like that lately they're trying to move away from the trope of being the hero, of being the main character, whereas, for example, World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy embrace that. Guild Wars with Soto, so Secrets of the Obscure, seems to want to kind of shake that off, okay? That I can respect. But yeah, you do start, you do kind of start like, whatever your origin story is, and then you do develop into this figure, the commander. So yeah, it doesn't escape that, but like, I feel like they want to shake it off, going by what I've seen in the story anyway. They seem to want to move away from that, it's good in my opinion, honestly.
Severe collection of bad dragons laying around. Strange occurrences happen in this MMO that don't happen in others, like your backstory choices having mild consequences as opposed to none at all, and your character developing somewhat of a personality. In the long run of the Guild Wars 2 story, we're here to inflict unwanted diversity upon the world like our name is Netflix, and transport some uppity gecko with a bad habit of organizing.
Yo, that is false accusation right there. No, the game is not... I can't believe that. The game has nothing to do with like quote-unquote woke propaganda. All right, it is inclusive. It has become more inclusive. But like, no, it's not in your face doing you dirty. It's like it's just there. You might find a gay character, for example. You might find a gay couple. You might find someone who is of ambiguous gender, and it doesn't matter. It's mentioned like passingly, and it doesn't matter ever again. It's not in your face. It's not the defining characteristic of those characters at all. There was one move that was a little bit. A little bit on the nose, let's say, but it didn't bother me. And that was like Marjorie and what's her name? Casimir? But I think there was always like this dynamic between them. It wasn't expanded upon, but with End of Dragons it was expanded upon, and they get married, for example, and that's it. Whatever.
a domestic terrorism or two into the afterlife. And I'm gonna stop there because this is a first impression and that's just the base game. And if you want the rest of the story, you might as well go get a PhD in quantum theoretical fucking physics because that would be far more straightforward than understanding anything beyond each expansion featuring some version of Big Lizard mad now. Except for Living World 3, where one of the human gods becomes the living embodiment of China and decides that everything is edible through his personalized Slurpee straw. But none of that really matters right now because I'm a giant bipedal cat.
I didn't find the story difficult to follow, even for End of Dragons and Secrets of the Obscure or IBS even, or I don't know what this guy is talking about. For real, the story is just, it's average, it's there, it's nice, it works, yeah, it's not complicated. I don't know what he's talking about.
Magician surrounded by unarmed but suspiciously blue protesters in need of some excessive force. So after proving to our superiors that no one is above the law except us, we even get some ringside seats to desecrating the graves of the indigenous. In particular, one of their leaders who really wanted to be a Power Ranger before
I know he's trying to make jokes, but for real, he's making it up completely, which is why his humor is missing me here. At least me, you know, because even though it's funny to hear in a vacuum, when you know what actually happens, which doesn't take more than having ears and maybe one brain cell, his take on what happens in the story is pretty weird.
he died and revived himself into an oversized Funko Pop. Now looking at this world lore-wise, everything tends to fit together very neatly. We've been told from the start that the Char are brutal and warlike, and we, as a character in this game, get to be a part of that tradition. There's only really one problem. I, as a player in this game, don't really take any of these schizophrenic apparitions seriously at all. I mean, look at this. This guy's been beating me up for the last half an hour, and my health bar's barely moved. At no point in this game so far am I in any serious danger.
Yes, that is on design. That is like on purpose, because as much as you like to call this an RPG, it is in fact, Guild Wars 2 is in fact an MMO ARPG. It's never meant to be. It has depth, but it's meant to be hack and slash. Most of all, you can tell by the combat system if it wasn't a dead giveaway, or the fact that, like, you know, everyone just likes to murder throngs of enemies, and, you know, the game enables you to do that. So in that regard, even though it's an MMORPG, I would say it's an MMOARPG. So you're not gonna be finding one enemy and spending a while killing it, and then finding another enemy and spending a while killing it. You're not gonna be doing that. You will want to, you know, to maximize your efficiency by gathering them up and fucking slaughter them like they're nothing. And that's what makes it enjoyable as well.
And I'm not really being forced to learn how vital any of my specific abilities are. But moving on, after defeating the last statue of Stalin in an...
Yeah, on that last part I will say they do actually do a terrible job at teaching you that actually there are rotations, actually there are optimizations you can make, which will matter later on. They really just don't communicate that at all. And then what happens is that in endgame events, for example, you see players just constantly dead, losing their shit, losing their fucking minds over, you know, how overwhelming suddenly things are, whereas in reality you've had like so many expansions to learn your character, which is difficult to do when ArenaNet doesn't even give you the opportunity to do so. They don't really teach you all that. But I guess, you know, I can imagine, which is just my own like interpretation of what happened. So I don't know if that was that was what they were going for. I imagine that's why the difficulty ramps up so hard in Heart of Thorns. Maybe they were trying to, you know, to force players to be a little bit more careful. But that's like they brute force it to the point where Heart of Thorns is just annoying as fuck to play through.
In an admittedly epic battle, we are ready to leave tutorial warzone into tutorial starting area, which is the same place just with less ghosts and not instanced. So welcome to Smokestead. The transition here is a little bit odd. We've now gone from battle-hardened soldier to pest control handyman who's here to autocorrect a few sentient rats out of existence and learn a little bit more about the world around us. And look, As much as I want to be negative about Guild Wars 2, I can't say I hate this experience. We get a few more abilities, learn some important skills like how to dodge, and learn to develop a case of epilepsy from all the spell effects happening around us. Come to think of it, that's one of the problems with this game. You see,
fair criticism. I've said it numerous times before myself. They need to have a more expanded and robust toggle system for what visuals you see and, you know, their sources.
combat is interesting, more on that in a second, but there's just so much visual clutter that it's difficult to... Oh my god, the abilities change when you switch weapons. And not just that, every profession wields the same weapon in a completely different way, which just adds to the fantasy of the game. Someone with the Guardian profession will pick up a two-handed sword and identify it as a manually operated wood chipper. But a Mesmer will pick up the same sword and instead see a long metal wand made for ranged combat. Avada Kedavra. Can't believe that shit worked. Now, I've never in my life thought of a sword as a ranged weapon, but Guild Wars 2 made that possible, and I can appreciate that. As I played my way through the starting area, though, certain unavoidable realities about the combat began to dawn on me. As I've hinted at, magic effects in this game are so bright I feel like I'm staring into the fucking sun sometimes. But that's about the worst I have to say about it. Guild Wars 2 has somehow made a hybrid tab targeting system that feels immersive and smooth to play, even in 2023. Part of this likely has to do with the fact that if I've position myself wrong and use an ability, my character doesn't tell me,
Can't do that.
but instead it's more of a sure. I don't mind flailing the sword around in the Walmart parking lot, but it's also more than that. Almost every single combat factor feels important. Your timing, your positioning, how you choose to approach a fight depending on your profession, all of it matters, except what ability you decide to press, at least at the lower levels. Now I'm sure at endgame that statement is likely to not hold true, but right here, right now, it honestly doesn't feel like it matters what button I press because my character is a walking god of death. Everything I touch just dies. And for someone who's never played MMOs before and picked up Guild Wars 2, that's the thing that's likely to take them out of the experience the most.
Yeah, but at the same time, even though he's correct 100%, at the same time, do you see what happens when you make it even slightly harder? Or when you ask your players to do mechanics that are like intuitive? They go like, game too hard, I quit, and they leave. There is no pleasing morons. You'll never manage that, so you might as well just do your thing. You know. Hire me as your developer, by the way.
There's no initial challenge, but other than that, there's plenty of weapons to experiment with, a not overwhelming amount of buttons to push, and all of what you're doing feels well tied to the fantasy of Tony the Tiger's albino brother looking for his lost dad. While we go through all these little quests that build up the world a little bit, we finally come of age at level 10, and are given permission to leave the opium fields to pursue our own personal jihad. We enter into a city that gives off first-person Kenshi vibes. More importantly,
Okay, fair enough. That was good, that got me. Leave the opium fields and go on your personal Okay, good one.
we're given our first mount. Huh. Now that was underwhelming. No questline, no story integration, just congrats on level 10, here's a fucking dinosaur. Now I don't know about you, but back in my day, playing WoW, when everyone thought that you could fix the paladin nuke sword by fishing, when you got your first mount, it felt amazing. You had to grind for hours to make enough money to afford that bastard, because it's likely you...
Oh boy, I hope he made it to the sky scale in the other mounts, because he'll love that if he thinks that way. Unless he's being sarcastic. Also, I don't think he realizes that they give you the Raptor as a convenience, and then it goes away, and then you have to actually unlock it. Though that is easy for the Raptor, and, you know, thank fucking God it is.
wasted all your money on repair bills from exploration-related debts or doing something else stupid in-game. And you had to walk to your computer desk uphill, barefoot, in the snow, while it was raining fire, all while your dad chased after you with a belt. But here in Guild Wars 2, it's just kinda... And then that all changed when I pressed the W key.
I'm gonna state the obvious. Best fucking mount system in the whole fucking universe right now.
Oh my god. I'm about to go.
I take back what I said. This iguana feels pretty good. This mount doesn't just have one singular speed, it accelerates from a stationary position. It has a turn radius. It even has abilities. And as much as WoW bit off of Guild Wars 2 for the Dragonflight mount system, it still feels like they've done a better job in the original, and we're still currently only level 10. God damn it, Guild Wars 2. Why can't you just let me hate you like an MMO player normally hates everything they play? Haven't you taken enough from me? Alright, fine. I'll admit that the hybrid tab targeting system feels good and immersive to play with. I'll begrudgingly accept that this little ability bar isn't overcomplicated or oversimplified, all while it keeps the character's class abilities in line with the in-game lore. But do they really have to make things straightforward enough that some new player who's never played an MMO before can stumble into this game and enjoy themselves? And that they could probably do this without looking up a single guide online? Won't you consider the suffering this causes a veteran player like me? How am I, as a salty old player, supposed to gatekeep this experience when even the A and D keys are bound to strafing instead of keyboard turning by default? How am I supposed... Oh, thank God, something to bitch about. There's an in-game store. This game is pay to win. Absolutely disgusting. I have never in my life seen a cash shop so mediocre. God damn it, who am I kidding? There's much worse out there. Keep in mind, this doesn't make this acceptable in my opinion, but it could be much worse. The biggest thing to complain about here...
Yeah, it could have been much worse. You know, I'm not gonna mention the obvious examples, but no, it's not pay to win at all, though. I hope he understands that.
Here's probably the utility and upgrade tabs. From what I can tell, the utility and upgrade tabs are all about creating a problem to sell a solution, with the old
Yes, that is true.
pay for convenience line attached to it. You know how it goes. Extra bag space, bank tabs, crafting shortcuts, that kind of stuff.
Now all of that stuff I expected, but then it takes a little bit of a darker turn.
Extra character slots, waypoint unlocks, the fact that gold doesn't just convert to gems, but
Okay, so some of those items you don't ever need to touch. A lot of the shop items you never need to touch. Oh god, but some you do. And that is indeed the pay for convenience thingy. But yeah, at least there is no subscription. I'll take it.
gems also convert to gold. That is pretty low. But again, admittedly, it's...
How is it pretty low? Are you again your evil self? How is it negative that you can buy the shop currency within game currency? How is that? How? Okay, I'll move on. Fuck it. That was dumb. This guy's dumb. All of a sudden, he's fucking dumb. Let's go.
surprising it's not worse considering the developer and publisher of this game. But at least there's a solution to this as a first-time player. You see, I don't care about being the best, most well-kitted out Guild Wars 2 player. I don't care about high performance. I'm just here for an experience. So with this one magic spell, we can get rid of all these problems. Now let's get back to our adventure.
Here he's implying that you can actually pay to win when you can literally you cannot do that. I can't state it enough. You cannot do that. You're paying for quality of life improvements. Even legendary items aren't a stat increase. They are quality of life improvements. Like, this is misinformed. Let's go on.
So after dicking about in the Mad Max Thunderdome for a while, things at this point become just a little bit formulaic. We do our quests, we level up, we get thrown into some story.
He implies that it is, because just now he said, I don't care about having the best performance, I don't care about big numbers, I don't care about this, so I can just skip the shop. This sentence implies very clearly that he thinks that you can actually only reach peak performance by paying to win. So, yeah.
Based instant stuff, we're just kind of muddling around and... What the hell is that? Hold on one sec. Oh, so it's like a point of interest discovery map thingy. Anyway, as I was saying, we're kind of What the hell is that? 1 second, I'm not missing this. Whew. Well, that was fun. Now, what was I saying? At this point, I can't even remember. And that seems to be the thing with Guild Wars 2. There's a ton of content, world events, jumping puzzles with rewards, open-ended quests with a lot more to experience, even at these lower levels. Getting sidetracked feels almost mandatory as you level up. Guild Wars 2 has somehow struck a good balance between the story-based quests and helping us explore the world through side quests and whatever else we want to do. And that's one of the hidden hallmarks of a great MMO. You're just not able to help yourself, and you need to know what that thing you saw was in the distance.
Yes, they do that amazingly, and Final Fantasy tried to do that with the Fate system, and it fails horribly. But Guild Wars 2 does it just perfect. You will be... The world will fucking grip you. The world, if you let it, okay? Emphasis, if you let it and you enjoy it, it will fucking suck you in. It's gonna stroke your penis, and it's gonna suck you in.
Or the game giving you every opportunity to be involved in some dynamic world event. Now combine that with Guild Wars 2's fever dream-like graphics, and it's like being the world's worst ADHD patient on peyote. By the time I had regained my grip on my focus, I was level 20, looking for a dad I once lost in an orphanage-shaped daycare all those years ago. After finding him, I realized why he may have abandoned us. Look, I'm no expert in genetics, but we're a little bit on the light side for that to be our dad. But either way, he decides to accept us as his real son under the condition that we free him from prison and get...
I know the humor there was, well, humor, but like if you saw my dad and my mother, you would immediately, you know, if this guy, let me put it this way, if this guy saw my father and mother, he would immediately assume some really bad things about that. Let me put it that way.
Get revenge on his old gang for him, so that's exactly what we do. What's notable about this questline though is that the game gave us the option to keep him in prison. What's impressive here is that the MSQ is based all on the one backstory I chose way back in the character creator. Eventually though, we pay our father's bail, find the feral cats that he had been hanging out with and sterilize them away from life, resolve the story for now, and are back to adventuring out in the open world. Now I had come into this game without reading a single guide or watching a single video. The only thing I had done was make a post on Reddit, and that convinced me that interacting with people was a bad idea. But through witnessing my sheer unbridled stupidity, I had someone who's been playing this game since the birth of our current universe expose me to both the likely origin of the no-no flu that gets you shadow banned for mentioning it, and eventually the first dungeon I had been looking for. Now this has been a long trip, but not an unenjoyable one. I wish I could have stuck to my original goal and been a salty little baby about this game. Maybe make a spicy thumbnail for this video, rake in those clickbaited rage views saying this game is terrible, but I can't do it. Guild Wars 2 is not without its problems, but it is still an incredible MMO. It took me by surprise how well loved this game is by its players and community at large. This entire MMORPG can be summarized in the words, they didn't have to, but they did. The devs didn't have to make mounts with accelerations instead of flat speeds, but they did. They didn't have to.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier, they do fucking have great ideas. They do try to innovate. They do try to do good things. Come on, give me some fucking credit.
To voice act out the main character storyline with what must have been a shit ton of lines for some voice actors. But they did. They didn't have to put in all this extra effort into making the combat system, world, story, quests, or scenery, and could have just gone with your stock standard MMO approach and ended up with a perfectly fine MMO. But they did, and that's what makes Guild Wars 2 feel so special. Now this might be crazy to say, it almost feels like this game was made by people who not just like, but maybe even love the MMO genre. But maybe that's just early onset schizophrenia from being flashbanged by the Mesmer's abilities one too many times. If somehow like me you still haven't played Guild Wars 2 at this point and just want a bullet point list of the good versus the bad, then here it is. Starting with the bad. Guild Wars 2 throws a lot of complex systems at you, which can be overwhelming at times. There's a lot of complexity in this game and it's easy to miss something important, like the fact that you can upgrade your gear or that you have to equip your specialization to your character before you can gain its benefit. This feeling of being overwhelmed also carries over to the way things look.
I won't say that the systems are complicated. I will just say that yes, prepare to be flooded, that's for sure. But they aren't complicated, and people will help you. I will also agree with the visual clutter.
And sometimes there's a lot of visual clutter to deal with. Some abilities are blinding or distracting to the point that you're not quite sure if you've missed something.
But there is a point to this. I do love how distinct and flashy the abilities look. I just wish that, for example, in some content, I could have the option to turn it off. You know, as I said, an in-depth system where you can toggle what you see, what your party does. I've said it before, I'm not going to repeat myself.
Something important or not. There's a pay-to-win shop, and no, on this channel we don't
Yo! Now that is straight up lies. That guy is straight up lying when he says that, I'm sorry. That is like offensive to me. As a person with like average intelligence, this is like offensive, for real. It is not pay to win, I can guarantee you that. I'll fight you over it, I'll die on that hill. There is not a single pay to win element in this game. Not a single one, not a one.
pussy out and use weasel words like pay for convenience. It's all the same thing, and at the end of the day, it's there to get you to spend more money. None of
Yes, it is there to get you to spend more money, but it's not pay to win. You can call it whatever else you want, but pay to win it is not. You will not gain a single advantage, nothing, by paying. Nothing at all, ever.
that really matters as you're leveling up your character, but that's something to keep in mind if you plan to stick with this game all the way to max level. And finally, there are some bugs, strange error messages, and issues with the game, but nothing so far that has been game-breaking or made me have an
There are some game-breaking glitches, and there are bugs and error messages and minor issues. Yes, yeah, for sure.
install moment. Moving on to the good, and there's a lot of good, so I'm just going to stick to the main points. Guild Wars 2 base game is free to play, making it far more enjoyable knowing I could stop at any point in time and my anorexic bank account isn't going to get any thinner. There are no negative pressures here compelling me to play the game if I don't want to.
Thank you very much. This is one of the main reasons why you should play Guild Wars.
This is also a very detailed game, with a lot of love and time put into it, and that becomes very obvious the more you play it. Everything from the story to the world design itself feels on point. Nothing about this experience is mismatched. Combat is simple to learn, but has a high skill ceiling depending on what character class you pick up. But more than that, the higher your level goes, the more the flow of combat feels impactful. Initially, I told you that at the lower levels, it doesn't really matter what buttons you push. But as you level up, the world around you begins to become a threat, much like aging in real life. And if you're not paying attention to your health bar, you'll find yourself squirming around on the floor, trying to bandage yourself up before you get Bull Cosby'd. And even at low levels, I can tell that the lore of this game appears to be coherent, consistent, and integrated into the gameplay itself. This is the kind of MMO story that makes you care about what you're doing. You're not just running out into the wilderness, killing 10 bears to collect 10 bear asses at a drop rate of 10%. You're protecting a farmer's livelihood by killing the bandits that would have otherwise stole all of his cattle. You're negotiating a peace treaty between two races who've hated each other for centuries. Or you're protecting your people from the haunted burial ground that they decided to build their house on top of. All in all, I'd say that even now, in 2023, Guild Wars 2 is worth your time. The short answer here is that this isn't just a game trying to suck you into some mindless grindfest, but a fantasy world and a story to experience. I can tell you right now that even after I'm done with this first impression, whenever I've got a spare moment, I'm likely going to pick up this game again. But it looks like our Wrangler is finally back and ready to take us into the dungeon. So let's pop this Guild Wars 2 dungeon cherry and finish this first impression the right way. Alright, well, it's a little dark in here, but not too bad. Sarcophaguses. Looks like this one has a burial and undead theme to it. I guess I shouldn't be too surprised with how many ghosts we've been killing. Oh, look at that. We've even got an NPC to guide us through our first dungeon. How considerate. First, we deal with a little bit of combat with some more dangerous than regular mobs, but nothing we can't handle. We find a key and... Alright, here we go. Big door opening. This is the moment. This is when it gets interesting. What the hell? Okay, I'm sure that error message was just a one-time thing. We'll just walk back in there and... Fuck this game. How dare they take me on this emotional roller coaster just to kick me out of the first dungeon multiple times. These bastards made me care about my character's story. They went and reminded me of why I love MMORPGs in the first place. They made me have fun, goddammit. Now, as a viewer, you might not understand why I'm so mad, but I'm supposed to remain objective, soulless, and uncaring. And Guild Wars 2 just had to ruin that for me. I spit on you, Guild Wars 2. This game is terrible. IGN 0 out of 10. Don't play it. You know what? I'm logging out of this bullshit right now, and I'm never coming back. I am never touching this terrible, awful, unplayable mess ever again. What the hell is that?
One eternity later.
What year is it?
Fair enough. Fair enough. But no, these glitches aren't too often. Like, I've never seen that one, by the way. I've never seen anyone having that one in particular. But I won't deny it. I mean, he did show it, so it's there. But yeah, okay. Interesting. Interesting take. Still, though, why does everyone simp for Guild Wars 2? I don't think anyone simps for it. I don't think so. A lot of people hate on it, I would say. But simping? Alright, what's up? Why would you hate
Do
this
you want to
leveling?
know what one of the biggest problems is with trying out an MMORPG like Guild Wars 2 is for the first time? It's much like the difference between taking a vacation to somewhere completely new and actually having to live there. Without even meaning to, you'll find yourself noticing all the good, new, and interesting things that you just don't have back home. But it's the subtle.
Also, reading that ancient, outdated MMORPG, no, that's like Final Fantasy, my friend. That's not this. Sorry. Wrong game, buddy.
Minor changes in your new environment that you never pick up on until you've really spent some time there. And in this case, it's the leveling experience. Something I've been told to skip, boost, or ignore my way through.
Okay, I'm not gonna watch this. This is complete dog shit. If you've played Guild Wars 2, then you already know that this is like probably a shit video and a clickbait. So I'm not gonna watch that shit, sorry. It's not that I don't watch things I don't agree with, obviously. It's just that, like, if you're having trouble leveling in Guild Wars 2, of all games, if you have trouble leveling in Guild Wars 2, you are doing something so fundamentally wrong that your gaming license should be fucking revoked. I'm not even kidding. So I'm not gonna watch that one. I'm not gonna waste our time with it. But yeah. Alright, so I'm not sure what I want to do right now. This has been a very interesting 1.5 hours that I spent with you. But you know what? Let me get some coffee and get right back to you, and then I'm gonna decide how we're gonna progress. Because I really just don't have too much time today. So, you know, I might as well end it in like 20 minutes or so. But hey, we'll see when I'm back, okay? The opposite might happen. Who the fuck knows? It's Saturday. It's my free day as a streamer, okay? So I do whatever the fuck I want. So let me get some coffee and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. So here's what I'll tell you. Like by now we've watched enough videos, right? Honestly, I think we've seen all the weird takes. The weirdest being that weird fucking fever dream of a video that we watched last time in the end. That shit was magnificent. I'm still not convinced that that guy wasn't trolling. I'm pretty sure I don't know, either he was high or he was trolling. But anyway, what I meant to say, I can sum it up in some, like, in very few words. I think Guild Wars 2 is misunderstood, I think. There is lots of misconceptions about it hanging around, up to the point of people misunderstanding about the so-called release of Guild Wars 3 or development. I think it's very misunderstood. I can't say anymore that it's underrated, because it seems to me that even through these misconceptions, it has been gaining some momentum. It seems to me that the last couple of years, a lot of people have actually been paying attention to it. They have been approaching it. And there is a lot more stuff about it on YouTube than it used to be, of course. So I can't say it's any more underrated. I mean, you could say it's underrated because people say it's outdated, it's this and that, and archaic and old and all that, but even if I weren't to compare it to other games, like, you know, CAF, Final Fantasy, CAF, which is like extremely outdated and archaic when it comes to pretty much everything about it. But even if we were not to compare, it really isn't outdated. I don't know. It doesn't feel like a 24 game, obviously, because it's 15 years old or whatever, 10, 15 years old. But it still holds, like the interface elements, all of that shit still holds. It could have been more flexible, but it's not. That's okay, you know. And some menus are very basic, let's say. Some menus are very basic, not all of them, unlike Final Fantasy, which is just a bland, horrible mess, like it's on Game Boy or something. But yeah, I think I can't say it's underrated just because some people, in their personal opinion, it's outdated or something. I can't say that, but it is misunderstood for sure. Like, for example, this guy I've just watched calling it pay to win, or, you know, all that stuff. And even my own experience with new people, new players, is that they are intimidated by it. Which, I'm not going to lie, if I go back mentally to the first days that I was playing, the fact that it was doing its own thing in terms of pretty much everything, except the core elements of an MMO, was intimidating. Like, I felt like I was playing something that doesn't care if I understand it. Like, it's doing its own thing, it has this weird weapon swap system, and I'm calling it weird because, you know, I'm mentally getting myself back in that first day. You know, it's like the weapon, you equip the weapons on one class and they work differently than another class. It's, you know, a lot of things that it does haven't been seen in like other MMOs, especially during its first couple of years. It was very unique, which isn't always positive. So I think here what's happening is basically a combination of a stigma, which honestly it's well deserved, because Arena did fuck up again during you know, around IBS and all that. They did fuck up hard. They did kind of rest on their laurels, if you can even call them laurels, of just, you know, being interesting back then because it was unique, and it still is. But now they're trying to make it interesting in the same vein again. Like, you know, instead of copying what other MMOs do, they're just doing new things that are still their own things, though. And they still don't lose the identity of what it was. So, yeah, I'd say it's misunderstood and it can be intimidating for new players. But I personally, like, what I value in it, and this is like, I guess, the closing of what I'm going to say, of all of this 1.5 hours of talking and listening. Yesterday I met a few people, and we were like 4 people or so, and then, you know, one of them wanted to see strikes. With strikes, you know, they're like easy mode raid bosses, okay? And they wanted to see that because they didn't know what to do in the game. And I didn't want to criticize that. I mean, I criticize it here with you, but like in game, if I'm helping someone, I'm not gonna tell them, you know, it's your fault. What I'm gonna say is, you know, let me show you, because it's more immediate, you know, interaction with them. And I'm like, all right, sure. Let me show you what a strike is. Let me show you one of the things you can get to do, which the game doesn't immediately tell you unless you also, you know, look for it. Unless you do the story and reach that point, you will not know what it is. But again, you have the option to do it at level 1. You can just go and do it. So this phrase, you can just go and do it, is what I'm gonna close with. Anything you want is there. I took these guys with their stupid shit gear, okay? Which is enough to do the things in the game, all of the things, okay? That's shit gear. Like once you have exotic, which is like super easy to get, you can do anything you want in the game. Almost. You can't go into fractals higher levels because of agony, but you know, that's it. So it's the only game that just let me just fucking do the thing. It just lets me do the thing. Oh, you wanna go for this? All right, let me gather you all up. Doesn't matter what class you are, just be the class you want. All right, play the way you want. Just have the items you want. Let's get your friends and go and do the thing. And we went and did the thing. And the thing happened, and they cleared, and we cleared the fight, and they were very happy, and then they wanted to do more. And then after that, they wanted to do more. And after that, even more. And even today in the morning, they were like, one of them was like, hey, I want to do more of that. And I was like, yeah, sure. There's even more stuff to do if you want. I can show you. Like, it's that easy. We don't bother with like classes. We don't bother with like, oh, we need 3 tanks and 4.5, you know, healers. And we need like this. Nah, you just grab your friends and go and do the thing. You grab your friends and you go and do the thing. That's it. And in 3 months from now, their gear is not going to be relevant. So once they get it, that's it. And then you can go and do the things any way you want. You just go and do the things. That's it. You know? Sure, you can optimize, you can min-max, you can do this, you can play optimally, you can do this, that. And yeah, I do recommend it, because if you like it, you want to do it right. But in the end, you can just grab a few friends and then go and do the thing that you want to do. And that's it. And it doesn't restrict you. And it was interesting because when I suggested that, they were like, oh, but that says it's a 10-person content. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, let's go and do it. And we went and did it. And we weren't even 10, we were like 5, so, or 6. So, yeah, good luck doing that shit in Final Fantasy. Like, literally, whenever you want, you grab your friends and you go and do the thing. Good luck doing that anywhere. Like, for real, with no fucking requirements, anything. Just go and do the thing. Simple as that. No fucking complications, no nothing. Grab your friends and go have fun. Simple as that. And you also get loot, and loot actually matters. You know, it's actually rewarding. That's what I mean. You get, like, you get some currency or other, and then... for fuck's sake. Just a sec. That was like the... You'll see here. I'll introduce you. Well, I won't introduce you. I won't tell her that I'm streaming. And she won't know. So you'll see her. But then I have to go, though. I'll turn on my camera so that, you know... So that you can see us or whatever. I guess it's kind of funny to me. But yeah, so as I was saying, you just grab your friends and do the thing. It's that easy. You want to do story together? Yeah, take another 4 people with you, go do story. You want to fucking, like, anything. You know, nothing matters in a good way. You can just go and have fun, whatever. Create your own fun any time of the day. Easy as that. So for that, like that to me should have been the standard since 10 years ago. It should have been the standard. Because fuck having to find like another, like, you know, another 7 people, for example, in the case of Final Fantasy, and them having to have like certain classes and blah blah, and fuck off with that shit, for real. And there was a lot of fun because these guys were, you know, they were overwhelmed because they had never done those things before. And I explained the strats to them. And then, you know, every time we wiped, I was explaining to them, oh, you know, you should do this, you should do that. And slowly, bit by bit, they were actually fucking doing it. But the thing is, and that's the important part, which also no other MMO gives me, at least, they were making some really nice plays, you know, some really fucking gamer moments where they were struggling, which I found hilarious and in a very nice way, of course, in a, you know, a heartwarming, because, you know, they're noobs, so they're struggling with easy shit, you know, and their gear isn't like ascended yet, so they will struggle a bit. They don't have runes, they don't have sigils, they don't have the proper skills, nothing, and so they were struggling. I was healing them. And they were making all sorts of fucking gamer moments between them, you know. They revived each other at the last moment. They, you know, shit like that, and they were having a good time. They were having a good time because they didn't feel the game was punishing them for trying to learn the fight, for trying to do the thing. And even when they wiped, they were like, let's try again, let's fucking try again, that's it, yeah, well, we got this time we're gonna do this and that, you know. And they were switching around some of their skills and, you know, trying different skills and different, you know, approaches to the problem. And it was nice. It was very fulfilling to watch that. And it was very nice to be part of it as well. And now show me another MMO that does this without restriction and without punishing you. Honestly, so I don't fucking know. Anyway, that's my hot take on the whole thing. That's why I like Guild Wars 2. That's my main reason, because you can just go and do things with your friends. And that's what I want from a game, just to fucking log in and not having to think too much about stuff and just go like, let's do this today, right? Like, for instance, later today, I'm taking the whole group, and even those new guys, like these literal fucking noobs, okay, literal noobs, I'm taking, they don't even know what a rotation is. I'm gonna take them and we're gonna raid. We're not 10 people, we're gonna be like 6 people or something. I'm still taking them there. We're still gonna have fun. I guarantee you. We might even clear. They'll have fun for sure. I'll have fun watching them. Which raid are we gonna try? I don't know. Whichever is the easy one, I would say. Whichever is an easy mode, just to make it easy for them, you know. Either that or 4. Or Wing 4 is like the usual starting point, so it could be that. Another thing that is like pretty interesting and is a winning point for me is that even when you're getting your face fucking smashed in the floor in Guild Wars 2, you can still laugh about it a lot. Like me and Kaori and I should say, we're going for Kaori's Sky Scale, right, to unlock it. And so we had to do certain events around the world, and a lot of them were quite difficult for 2 people because of the incoming CC and all that, and sometimes the damage was overwhelming even though I was healing. And Kaori would be like, oh my god, what is happening? Like, getting thrown around like a fucking ragdoll, you know, getting overwhelmed by like many enemies. It's like, just let it happen, dude. Just have fun. Let's take a friend and go and do stuff. And we did the stuff, by the way. We did it. You know, it was fine. We fucking did it. And yeah, it was interesting. You know, we helped like some people prepare for a party. We played music. We fucking painted some paintings. We powered up some robots. It's like, you know, it's cool. You know, it's just cool. Like the cool factor of the game is very high, honestly. And if you let it, it will, you know, it will suck you in for sure into just doing the things. So I'm not sure if I'm simping for it myself, but it has like a couple of very strong points that I personally am looking for in a game, you know? And this whole thing where it's not complicated, but it is deep gameplay, just like the guy said in his video, he was very right about that point with abilities. Like, yeah, it's just 5 or 8 abilities or what, and then but they're important and they're impactful, and you need to know what they do, and then use them at the right time and all that. Like he said it perfectly. So it is a deep system, but it's simple, you know, and it has a high skill ceiling, but it's also very easy to get into and get the basics right. And basically, if you spend like 5 or 10 minutes in learning your character, it's gonna reward you with like being already a competent player very easily, without having to have a fucking PhD in rocket appliances. Okay? Just to channel my inner fucking Ricky here. But yeah, that's what I've got to say about this. So what I'm gonna do now, before I leave, I'm gonna leave this like that. I'm gonna turn on my camera for a bit, in like 5 minutes or so. Then what's gonna happen is we will both wait, and Erasmia, so the lady who does, my friend essentially, I can say at this point, who does my nails, will be here, and she won't know that she's on stream. and then you know, I will tell her, and we will catch her reaction. And you'll hear me speaking Greek as well, because, you know, otherwise I'm gonna give it away, you know, and I don't wanna. So it's gonna be interesting. I'm curious how she's going to react to that. But yeah, we'll see. I'll keep you company until then. Like, once she rings my bell, I will be silent. I'll turn on my camera, and then I'll open the door for her, and yeah, we'll see what happens from there. I hope I can pull it off, because like I'm not really good at that sort of thing. I'll probably give it away or something. Somehow, I don't know. I'm not even sure why I want to do it. It's just, I don't know, I just find it interesting. Because he's asked me a few times, like, you know, what is streaming like? You know, what does it look like? Like, what do you do exactly? And so, you know, I've told her, but she's never, she doesn't watch streams, or, you know, she isn't in touch with that whole thing. So yeah, I'm curious. She'll probably be mad at me for, you know, for having her camera. But hell, I don't fucking care. Oh god. The only problem with this plan, and the only reason why I'm thinking of not doing it, is that until then I'll have to entertain you. And I'm not really good at that, apparently. I don't know. So yeah. And even though today hasn't been about gameplay, I do stand by what I said. So Mondays are going to be Guild Wars 2 Mondays from now on. So, you know, this Monday is going to be my first time where I will actually stream Guild Wars. Like, literally stream Guild Wars, and not like just talk about it or watch a video about it or something. That's just because it's Saturday today, and I just wanted to talk about those things. But yeah, on Monday I'm gonna try and, you know, I'm gonna see how it goes. That's what's gonna happen. I hope it goes well, mostly for you. I mean, I'm gonna be fine anyway, but mostly for you. And that also means that it leaves me enough time to also work out in the morning, Because usually what I do when I stream on Mondays, I will log in and do my dailies in the morning, and so it's very easy for me to neglect working out. But, you know, if I'm streaming Guild Wars, I might as well do my dailies with you on stream, right? And it's a good start, since I don't really know how to stream an MMO. Honestly, I don't even know what to do in an MMO while I'm streaming. I just get I get completely blank, you know. I just go like, I don't know what you would like to see from an MMO, so, you know. I did manage a few Final Fantasy streams where I was actually doing content, running dungeons, for example. But still, it was weird to me. Even that was kind of weird to me. I don't know what it is about MMOs that just doesn't feel natural to stream them, to me at least. I don't know. Plus the whole thing with, like, you know, obviously feeling nervous when a rotation is involved. I don't know why. I guess I feel like you're gonna judge me or something, as if your opinion matters at all. Because, you know, in here, your opinion doesn't fucking matter. So, yeah. Yeah, okay, but now I have to wait for her. God damn it. I don't want to just wait. Maybe I'll find something to do if I just log in. For like, I don't know, the next like 10 minutes or so. Maybe there is like an event I can catch where, you know, I can just idly do it while we're waiting for Erasmia. I hope you slept well. By the way, I slept very well today. Let me see. Wait, why am I checking my inventory? Let me instead just check what you call it. Oh right. Hey, if you're having performance problems with Guild Wars, I recommend taking a look at was it Mighty Teapot's video about like your settings? So once I fucking watched that, you know, since I changed like a couple of things which weren't like crazily significant, I got like, I fucking tripled my frames. I'm not even gonna lie. And that was, I think, just by doing this. So where is it? Just by setting shadows to low and reflections to none, I was like tripling my frames. And the thing about reflections is that, like, let me show you actually. I'll demonstrate that. Because that is very interesting to me. Hey, give me the menu. Give me the fucking menu automatically, like you're supposed to do. You stupid thing. Shall I have to interact with you? Fine, I'll interact. Alright, let's go here. Since there is like a lot of water here. I need water to show you what reflections actually does. And why it ends up being like more of a subjective choice and not necessarily a choice that has to do with like clearly performance. But let me find some water. I must be going correctly, right? No. Of course I'm not. Okay. Where the fuck? Maybe through here? Ah, okay. It must be somewhere this way. Right. So, reflections, right? So this looks like proper water right now. There is a little bit of fake reflection, but like it mostly looks like water. Yeah, but now, if we turn on reflections, all right, to all, let's say. Not such a good example. I need a better example to show you guys. For which? Who's that? Oh, it's Phoenix. for which I'm gonna use actually fucking unknown. And I hope you'll be able to understand what I'm saying there. Okay, so the sea is this way. Let's go. So this is with reflections, like everything, right? So it reflects the sky, blah, blah, blah. Now look at it without reflections. And yeah, it has this sort of like magical feeling, as if it's like way too idyllic, right? Do you get what I'm saying? It has this like idyllic kind of like reflection from perfect waters, you know, it's like that kind of thing, right? So if you here, for example, just let me, for fuck's sake, let me make my point. All right, so let's say here, okay, everything is reflected completely, blah blah. All right, cool. But then, where is it? Reflections. And you do none, and it looks like motherfucking water. It looks more like water. It has some very basic reflections. All right. But it looks more like fucking water, though, doesn't it? Or am I going crazy? But anyway, if you just do that, the point was it doesn't look too bad. Or bad at all, actually. Okay? But you gain so many frames. So I'd say, you know, Mighty Teapot was spot on with that shit. I'll say. And it doesn't look lifeless, it just looks like water. More. At least to me, it looks more... like, dare I fucking say realistic? Kinda? Like if you turn reflections on here, for example. Let's see. Let's do all. It can even confuse you a little bit. Can't it? Like, for me, it feels it can. Like it's too much in the way. But that's personal preference, okay? You can even try just terrain and sky, for example, and then that will be more discreet. But I personally prefer none. And it just looks more normal? I don't know. I mean, I guess it also depends on like what kind of waters you're used to seeing. But in Greece, at least, you know, this is closer to the kind of reflection effect that I see, you know, if I travel by sea or, you know, by boat, not by sea. Jesus Christ, English. But yeah, it looks like, I don't know, it looks better to me. And you're gonna gain frames. And also the shadows options, I feel like on low it's just fine. I think anything above low is like maybe a bit overkill, because you still get this nice blob of a shadow under everything. Like it's not lifeless completely. You do have like your shadows. They're a bit simplistic, sure, but you know, you can get away with it. And you stop noticing it after a while. You just notice that there is shadows. But if you go here and if you go to shadows and do, for example, ultra, let's say, right? I mean, yeah, it's not blobs anymore. But do you really like gain that much? Honestly? And they do become blobs, like, you know, here. So, you know, and my level of detail distance is high, so that's not like it wasn't gonna be affected. Maybe, let's see, what if it was level of detail ultra? See, no change. So it's even inconsistent if it have it in ultra, right? So put that on high because you'll never notice it. And shadows, you can keep it on, like, I mean, just don't put it on ultra, okay? I personally like it on low because then it maintains consistency. And you still get like your little blob that is arcadey. It's not realistic, but it's arcadey. And it's enough, you know? But anyway, the point I was trying to make is go watch that video. Mighty Teapot is like literally spot on. Those are my settings personally. I find them to be pretty okay. You can easily get away with FXAA if you want. If that's causing you any trouble, you can get away with the FXAA instead of SMAA, for example. And the reason why I'm not running it in 2K isn't performance. And by the way, I've capped it at 60. That's why you only see 60 here. If I were to uncap it, well, that's a different story then, right? But I prefer capped personally. So the reason why I'm playing on on 1080 is this, and I'll show you right now. If you go to render sampling and you choose native with 1080p, now you get this nice pixelated look. This is highly subjective, but I personally like this. It reminds me of, remember back when I played Signalis, or Signalis, or whatever you want to pronounce it, where I was like, the graphics are kind of, you know, nostalgic, retro. That's the same feeling I'm getting from this. It's like, it's almost like an aesthetic instead of like a lower option. I don't know what it is about it, but I kind of like it. I like the pixelated fire here, for example. It just reminds me of like older games. I don't know. I like it. But of course, you can either go to K if you want, or, you know, and it takes care of that. Or you can go to render sampling and just go super sample, and then, you know, it's cleaner. Yeah? But hey, up to you. I'm just sharing my personal like take on this whole thing anyway. Oh, a bounty then. Okay, I don't want to participate right now. But yeah, I don't know. It did give me like a lot of frames, honestly. Changing the options there. Where are you all going? Oh, it's the event. No wonder I only got 70 frames. Okay, let me go somewhere else. Let me go here. All right. Let me uncap it. There we go. Like, these are frame rates that before those changes I wouldn't even dream of, honestly, in Guild Wars. Specifically in Guild Wars, because it is very badly optimized. I'm not gonna lie about that. It could use a lot of work. But yeah, as I was saying, like, what? Hey. Just... Oh my god. Punch that bird. Okay. But as I was saying, like, you can even go low on, or, you know, off on reflections, and it will still have some basic shit. Okay? Obviously, if you put it to all, right, you're gonna see more shit being reflected. But for example, here, you can barely see it. So, in most cases, like, you can see it's reflected, but you don't even notice that shit. Come on, let's be real. You're not gonna even notice that shit. But there you go. So yeah, but this is advice that I found on Mighty Teapot's video. I'm not trying to take credit here. And you might want to look at Teapot's video in general just for more advice. But for me, that was enough. Like, that was enough to gain like a ridiculous amount of frames. Like, it's stupefying what kind of a difference it makes, you know. So, you know. And again, like, sampling seems to be... It doesn't affect my fucking frames almost at all. with my 2080, which is an old card by now, but still doesn't affect it if I put it on super sampling. So to me, this is merely a subjective choice in terms of like, you know, do you want it to look a bit retro or not? That is literally it. And that's the reason why I keep it in 1080, because sometimes I feel like this, and sometimes I want it cleaner. So I just stay 1080 and then, you know. But I don't know if you can see it, but it does have this kind of grainy, pixely look that isn't bad. And I'm not even sure this was like, you know, obviously it's not intentional. Obviously this is quote-unquote intended to be a visually worse setting than super sampling. But it turns out that the effect is worth it. It turns out that it's worth lowering if you like this effect of, you know, retro games. So, yeah, you know. And again, as I said, I'm using SMA high, but you can use FXAA if it makes a difference. For me, it makes almost no difference. So I keep it at SMA high. But yeah, I like it that way. I don't know. It's nice. It looks nostalgic almost. Anyway, all right. I'm not quite sure. Oh shit! You know what? Wait, there was something I wanted to tell you. I've been thinking about it. I just remember there is something I want to tell you, but I don't remember what it is anymore. Fuck, let me think. Oh god, it was something. I literally only remember there was something that I wanted to share at the beginning of my stream. And now I forgot what the fuck was it. It was some real life shit. I mean, wait, was it like... Did it have to do with like all the doom prepping about the eclipse? No. Though probably I want to talk about that too. I mean, you know, but yeah, whatever. It wasn't that. It's something real life, but I don't remember what it was. And you know what? Maybe for the better. And it had nothing to do with me, so it's not important anyway. Anyway, it's been 2 hours and 10 minutes, 12 minutes. I think Erasmia is being delayed, probably trying to find where to park or something, which is a nightmare in Greece. An absolute fucking nightmare. And the legit reason why not to drive, you know, not to own a car, basically. But yeah, I think... Oh, you know what? Here we can check the level of detail clipping or popping. So... Come on. Come on. There we go. Okay, so that thing popped in. All right. So what would happen if I were to turn this? It won't affect it though, because that's just view distance, right, of the props, just like in Skyrim. So what if I were to do low level of detail distance? Does that even change anything? Because I can still see the splashes there. I can still see the lighting here. Let's do ultra. What will change? Ah, maybe this here? So this is with ultra, right? Okay, so if I did, for example, low, would this change? Even if it did change, it's not... Let me try to get some speed in. Ah, there is some popping there, but would I see this popping anyway? Let me check. Let's do ultra and go back there. Wait, I'll need to go there. Shit. Okay, fine, I'll land. Let's gain some hate. Hate? Hide. I've gained enough hate. Alright, here we are. Please don't fucking dismount me or anything, thank you. And then, let's go this way. So, it seems to me that level of detail is not render distance at all. But how would we test it though? Like, okay. Will it work with water? Doesn't look like it does. Okay, so I see some grass and shit. Let me just... So now, for example, if I were to... I will assume there is still grass there. Okay. So is it even that? Let's try again. Going this way. No, the grass just pops like that anyway. So what does this actually affect? I know what it's supposed to affect, but I'm not sure what it affects in reality. It is so weird. I'm not gonna lie, it is very weird. For now, it seems you could actually do it on low, and like, what's the impact on FPS anyway? Literally fucking nothing? I guess you'd have to be moving. Like, I guess this is something that would maintain your FPS higher if you were, you know, if you were to speed through various parts, maybe. So, you know how we could test this, right? I could go over here. Or rather, where are some rolling hills? I need a map with rolling hills. I mean, Queensdale could work. Either Queensdale or like Gendaran Fields would work. They're open enough. This is open enough. We could do it here. Okay, so here we are. Ah, the plan. Give me a second. You're gonna hear me speaking in Greek, okay? Don't say anything. Shh.
Εσύ.
Καλά. Τι κάνεις σήμερα?
Καλά είναι.
Καλά είσαι.
Καλά.
Τέλεια. Καλά κι εγώ. Έλα λίγο εδώ. Όχι τίποτα, αυτό κάτσε κανονικά κάνεις. Ναι, δεν τρέχει τίποτα.
Αλλά νόμιζα ότι θέλεις κάτι.
Όχι τίποτα.
Είναι live.
Ναι. Ρε, το πρόσεξες πάρα πολύ γρήγορα. Ήθελα να το προσέξεις λίγο πιο αργά. Δώσε μου λίγο να τους χαιρετήσω και να σε τέτοιο έτσι. Alright, so your reaction was way too mild. I'm disappointed. Yeah. Anyway, so this is the closing of the stream though, because I gotta go. Okay. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you next time. I'll catch you on Monday for some proper gameplay of Guild Wars 2. Okay. I promise you, it's gonna be proper. It's not gonna be looking at videos. But for now, I have to go. So have a great day, and thank you for watching. Okay. And take care. Have a great Saturday as well. Goodbye.